Good morning and welcome to the final video on complex numbers and types of roots. So you may recall that complex numbers are made up of real numbers and imaginary numbers. Right? The standard form of a complex number, you may recall, is a plus bi, right? I have my real part on the left and I have my imaginary part on the right. We reviewed that complex numbers live on the complex plane, and we reviewed how to graph and find those numbers. Importantly, real numbers are broken into rational and irrational. Okay, and we recalled the definitions of each, right? Rational comes from the word ratio. So, numbers like 5/7, 1/3. Rational numbers either terminated if I converted them into a decimal, or they repeated in some predictable way. Whereas irrational numbers like, the square root of 2 or pi or whatever else would basically not repeat and not terminate. So those were some features of irrational numbers. And then of course, imaginary numbers were, things like I. Okay. Now, the important thing to just note is when you are looking at roots, okay, the thing that you want to understand is that irrational roots can come in pairs. So for example, if I have 1 plus the square root of 2 as an irrational root, I would also know that 1 minus the square root of 2 is its friend, okay? And the reason I would know that is because I would only get 1 plus the square root of 2 as a root if I'm using the quadratic formula where I have two solutions, okay? So just make a note to yourself that that's important. Similarly, if I am finding imaginary roots, like, I don't know, I'll make this up, like 3 plus I, right? If I'm getting an answer like 3 plus I, I'm using the quadratic formula, which means I would have also gotten another answer as 3 minus I. So these imaginary roots can come in pairs. So why do I care about that, and why is that important? Well, the thing you want to make sure you understand is if I said, hey, I know that, I don't know, x equals 4, right? And x equals 1 plus the square root of 2 are roots of a polynomial, right? Then what I could do is work backwards and go, oh, wait a minute, I think I can probably find the factors, and I might even be able to multiply that together to get a polynomial, right? I would know that, okay, well, I would know that x minus 4 is a factor, right? And I would know that x minus 1 plus root 2 is a factor. But then I would have to be smart enough to realize, wait a minute, if x equals 1 plus the square root of 2 is is a root, I would have also gotten 1 minus the square root of 2 if I use the quadratic formula. I'd have a plus and a minus. So this would mean my other factor would be x minus the quantity 1 minus root 2, okay? So just an important note that if you are only given limited information about roots, you can infer more factors if you understand that irrational roots, right, can come in pairs, and so can imaginary roots. Again, why is because we are getting these answers using the quadratic formula, and the quadratic formula gives us two answers. Okay, so if I were to clean this up a little bit, I could just say this is x minus 4. I could distribute the negative 1, x minus 1 minus root 2, x minus 1 plus root 2, okay? So I hope that helps review a little bit about the complex number system and the types of roots that you can get. It's just important to remember that when you're using the quadratic formula and you're getting irrational or imaginary roots, they can come in pairs.